Okay.
Your presence. The confidence and presence at which you receive these balls. So when you get these balls back, nobody's stressed out. Nobody's worried. It's not like, oh, you have goalkeepers that you're like, oh my God, the goalkeeper has the ball at their feet. The confidence it resonates through your team. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, Morgan, we're going to move on to you right here. So this clip, you're showing for the ball at the near post right there. And I like your position. Again, hand gesture, that nonverbal communication right there. Here's what I love about that is you recognize where the chase is coming from, where the pressure is coming from, and see that the direct ball is the most open space for you. And you play this ball forward right here to this play. That is that freshman year you did that? What?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's let Jamie critique.
Okay. All right.
I'm putting my glasses on.
What do you see right here, Jamie?
Okay. I see that she's preparing to take a touch into the open space rather than back towards the pressure, which I think is really good. Like, I love that touch in the space. And then she looks up really quick to see her options and then probably sees the long one and decides that's best. Because there's also pressure coming in from the other side to her other center back. So I think that's a really good ball. Like, that's really impressive.
Yeah. And, Jamie, I think you're right on point because we have a lot of young keepers that are listening and out there right now that if you don't get that touch right, then you have to take 2 touches to make the service, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure you're always opening up and that first touch sets you up for a service or a pass. Now, I will tell you, that is some serious confidence right there. Sending a ball right up the middle, but you're on point.
That was, I think my coach was a little nervous about that one.
But to be fair, Morgan, I think this is one of those things, when you're talking about, goalkeeper IQ and exploring and recognizing, what can you do and what can't you do? That's the whole idea of youth soccer. The whole idea of youth soccer is to work on these elements so that once you get to the collegiate level, you have these tools in your trade box. And I think, a lot of times we'll have NWSL players here or MLS players or whatever, and people see the type of service that they're giving and they're like, oh man, they're like, that's a risky ball or whatever. Like, you don't understand how many reps they did where they failed at that. Or were successful before they finally became a type of thing. I love the scanning here. And again, I think college coaches see this and they recognize the fact that like, oh, this player is willing to make that play if it's on.
And there's a certain level of confidence. Mm-hmm. So even if this goes wrong for you, it's a learning experience. But I think I agree. I so much agree with Jamie right now. I think that the way you opened yourself up and set yourself up to serve this ball, that it was going to be on point. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't too tight of a touch or anything. You had control.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, for anybody who's watching right here who are young players who are going through the recruiting process, the reason we've chosen a lot of these clips right here, if you're recognizing a lot of you in your college recruiting tapes, and I'm just going to be straight up honest with you, are showing final actions that really everyone in the world can do. Like, I'm not, no disrespect, any halfway decent athlete can make a save. Like, these are the actual moments that college coaches are looking at and going, can they play the game? Can they play within our system? Do they understand their starting position? Do they understand how to move, how to track, all those sorts of things? So really looking at that stuff. With that
Mike, you're right on point because I've seen thousands of recruiting tapes, and two of my biggest issues is it's just the final action. You're not showing me the build up to what's going on, so I can't assess how you're reassessing the play, how you're moving, how you're readjusting. And then this is my other big thing. It's too far away. Like, I got a parent up in the far stands and I'm like trying to like touch my screen, which isn't a touch screen, to open it up and see. That's my joke on that one.
Oh my gosh. All right, I want to move on to this corner right here. So this is an in-swinging kick. Top of the 6, it's a header. And as we see when this ball comes in, I know it's a little bit far away. No disrespect to whoever shot this after Saskia said that. But the header's hit here. A lot of goalkeepers panic here. What does Jamie do? Nope. Simple, clean hold right there. And then tells her team to clear out. But do you see just the poise and the presence right there? I want a lot of young goalkeepers to see that. This is the type of
I
stuff
want to
college
hear what
coaches.
more. I want to hear what Morgan sees.
Okay.
It's
I
just
think
like this is like you're in class. This is like
I know.
this is fun.
Go ahead, Morgan.
I think her starting position is really good, and then she takes a step forward and repositions once she realizes that it's going to be a shot. She gets back on her line, so she gives herself more time and like time to read the ball, and then she immediately uses like verbal and nonverbal and makes space for herself.
Go ahead.
I'm so.
Jamie, what'd you see? You were the one in the play.
I saw that the ball wasn't close enough for me to come out and like get to. So I opened up my body and set rather than keep moving. And then so I was able to make the save.
Mike, I talk about this a lot. So when you see with younger players, look, I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see it.
Yeah.
You see a lot of younger players will first take themselves out of position by coming too far, like making that first step near post. It's a goalkeeper era across the board. But the fact that you drop, reposition, get yourself square and set for whatever comes in, you're not coming for the ball. So what do? A lot of goalkeepers will see, oh, I wanted to come for it, I didn't. What do I always say? Don't follow one mistake by another. I'm not saying you could come for this ball, but what I'm saying is don't get weighed in on the fact that you didn't come for the ball. Reposition yourself, get yourself ready for the shot. Perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely. Morgan, good analysis.
And I want to say this too, right here. Jamie, does that hit the crossbar slightly, or did
I
you
don't
just hold
think
on to it
so.
clean? Okay, so you just held that on clean. Well, one of the reasons that you held on that ball clean as opposed to hitting the crossbar is because despite the fact that you dropped to create depth, you didn't drop inside your goal. And how many young goalkeepers do you see, Saskia, drop inside the goal?
I have never taught that to anybody in my life. To drop inside the goal. Yeah. Like you're putting yourself in a very strange position. You have the crossbar, the side post, you have everything around you, and you're inside your goal. Mm-hmm.
Especially in a corner, because that's a lot of just reaction. Like there's like if you do a kick save and it's a parallel one, then you're not it's going in the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Mike, do you drop inside your goal?
No, but what I'm saying is I have seen a lot of young goalkeepers don't recognize the fact that if they don't keep their power shoulder positive in front of post, they are going to be negative into the goal. So now they're literally going against the ball as opposed to being in front and being able to hold on to that ball or just tip it over, especially young goalkeepers, like foundational goalkeepers. And I'm sure you remember this. When you were little ones, Jamie would just jump and grab the ball. She loved jumping. But,
I was never little.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Morgan right here. After Jamie's just so calm with her presence,
I love the presence. Both of you, I love the presence. It means
and
so
controlling
much
the tempo. Controlling the tempo of the game. You dictate the tempo of the game, and you decide whether we're going to play fast or whether we're going to play slow. And there you go. You're like, yeah, you know what? We're good. Okay, so this is a free kick, I believe, Morgan, from deep out that's played into you right here. Now, this is when Saskia always says, don't follow one mistake with another mistake. I think you probably recognize that. All right, guys, we're going to start in a couple minutes right here. You were just watching a preview from last week's episode with Jamie Campbell and Morgan Farnham from LAFC Youth. We are being joined by Juan Cervantes from UCLA in a couple minutes right now. We just had him on the StreamYard, but we just lost him, so I'm not sure where he went to, but we should have him back any second right now. So we need to go to the brand here, get ready to go. Not sure where he went. Oh. All right. All right, we'll go back to the video then. You're a little late for this ball. And rather than panicking, you kind of read this bounce, and then you come up and challenge the ball and win it. Mm. What's up, dude? Can you hear us?
What's up, Michael? Yes. How are you?
Man, good, man. Good. Look at that. Look at that setup you got right there, dude. I love it, man.
Dude, I jumped in and I kind of heard like you were having like last week's podcast or something. I thought I joined something else.
No. That's just what we do before the show. A little pre-roll going on so that when people hop on, they don't just see dead air
I
or
think
listen
that
to me hum.
I think that confuses a lot of people. What's up, Juan?
Well,
What's up,
it
Saskia? How you
says
doing?
we are going live in a few minutes. Until then, please enjoy these clips from last week's pod and give us your thoughts.
Gotcha. It just
Yeah.
happens so much at UCLA where like you go into conference rooms and you open the door and you're like, whoa, there's people in here. Just close that back. I think I walked into one of the women's meeting a couple of times by accident. It's just embarrassing.
Well, that can't be bad. Can't they're number one in the country, so.
Correct. You want to hear everything they got to say.
Hey, but look at you guys. We can talk about it, but hey, I'm telling you, you guys are killing it. What, 21, but still,
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, I remember where you started.
3 years ago, man. We're progressing very well, and the team is taking some tough criticism, but we're getting there.
All right, well let's get this going here. Here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me, as you know and love her, the one and only 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber, who is back from her exhausted from her sports commentary career. Shout out once again, wonderful work you all did on Bally's. A little premature last week when we thought that was the last match because you had one more match to go with the Chicago Red Stars, and not the result obviously Angel City wanted, and unfortunately because there was no decision day, you already knew the result going into the match, but still a wonderful opportunity for a lot of players that didn't get a lot of playing time throughout the season.
I love your opinion there. You just stuck that in there. We can discuss it, but I agree with you, Mike.
I mean, just every top league in the world does a decision day, so that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
If the league wants to come at me. Somebody knows a little bit about decision day right here. The one and only UCLA goalkeeper coach, Juan Cervantes, making his triumphant return to Inside the 18. And as we were discussing earlier, Juan, things are looking up. UCLA, it doesn't rebuild, they reload, right?
Yeah, man, we're back in the rankings, kind of what it should be like every year, so we're in that road right now. We just hope we stay there, and we're there to compete every day, and we're trying to make things happen 1 year at a time.
No, I love it. Obviously you and I shared the field together and everything, so to see you guys back in the rankings and playing the way you are, super stoked about that. I used to have stuff on my walls behind me as well, Juan, but I'm moving, so I just wanted you to know.
I feel like I'm still living the dorm life.
The case used to be filled, all that stuff, but I'm moving to Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
So. Where I have my own
Big
office.
time. Big time.
Well, congratulations on that. And obviously it's going to be a very nice office that you've got right there. And it wasn't until you pointed it out, Saskia, that I realized how bare the walls were right there. I just thought you were being humble. No more humming trophies, no more World Cup medals.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
I packed all my UCLA stuff, and I packed my hat and everything. So I was looking around. I was like, I got to put something UCLA on for Juan. And I was like, and the one hat I have doesn't fit. It's too small. So I was like, all right, well, I'm sending you.
I was going to wear my Angel City
FC
scarf, but it's this small. So
yeah, I'm sending you. There you go.
Look, what's up?
I got my UCLA goalkeeper shirt on right there.
I love the shirt. Yeah.
I'll run and change really quick. I think I have a t-shirt in the dryer.
Oh,
it's my favorite t-shirt.
I think you still have plenty of UCLA gear somewhere. So
I'm packing. I have 3 boxes.
Oh my gosh!
I can't let it go.
Well, also,
I'm always wearing the same thing.
Despite the fact that you guys, you all have the same connection in regards to both had been working at UCLA as goalkeeper coaches, you also both have U.S. soccer experience. I think a lot of people, Juan, don't know this, but you've been a member of the men's beach national team for quite a while.
Yeah, I played 2 years, I think 2016 through 2019. I was able to be a part of the CONCACAF team 2 years and one World Cup. So it was pretty big time. And I think I learned a lot about reactions and 1v1s through there and bringing that onto the field. I think it helped a lot. And I think my goalkeepers see it. And I think my starter, Nate, is starting to use some of those technical aspects into his game.
It's so funny because when Juan had told me about him playing beach soccer and everything, all of a sudden, like this little light bulb went off from back when I used to train at Rutgers. And like, I think the next day I stuck the UCLA goalkeepers in the sand pit on Drake. And I was like, let's go. We're going to do footwork. We're getting the sand.
Yeah.
Do you guys do
fun.
sand training at UCLA?
Every once in a while. Well, that's more for like preseason. I have them shuffle out, set volley, shuffle, set volley, karaoke, half step volley, little things just so that they can go ahead and work on those tight muscles, fast twitch muscles on their calves and kind of burn their quads. And you can't finish a day off without doing some of those Drake Stadium stairs. The guys love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely. I've walked those stairs, and I can't imagine doing those as a fitness exercise.
I used to do stairs all the time.
Oh my gosh, man!
I've done stairs in so many universities, stadiums, and everything. It's not even funny. It's not funny because my back and my knees don't like me anymore. But it's okay.
You know what we do
about
like
Drake,
though?
You just love seeing the view.
You know what we do like though? We like Stan Anderson and Camp Shutout, and we want to give a shout out to Stan Anderson and Camp Shutout because Nate, your number one currently at UCLA is a Camp Shutout alumni, and had worked with Stan Anderson over at FC United. So want to give a little shout out to Stan because there's a small world right here in the goalkeeper union. I love it.
Much love for Stan. Yeah, he and I are always going back and forth, twirling our fingers on Instagram and messaging each other about, hey, what's going on, and how's my keeper doing? Oh, I love it, man. Stan has great connections, and Camp Shutout is just one of the largest things. And I think it went well for Nate that went to go work it. He just sees this huge family of goalkeepers. I think there's like 200 or even more goalkeepers in one camp. It's insane.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Juan, about that in regards to like having, your goalkeepers, go out in the summertime and work camps, and get a little bit involved in that coaching side. When they come back, do you feel like they're a little bit more of a student of the game because they kind of understand it from the other side too?
I think that helps any goalkeeper when you go ahead and remind youth goalkeepers about form, about technical, tactical, staying tight with your back line or certain things. It just comes back to you naturally as a player, like, oh, I should have done this. This is what I was doing all summer long at camps. And, I feel like I should have applied that here. And then again, they ask questions. Well, my college guys like to ask questions, which is great for their learning environment. I think I built that bond with Nate, Tyler, and Sam, where, hey, what should I have done there? Hey, can we review the film? And it always goes back and forth. And I think them going back to a camp environment where fields aren't as crisp, I think it's a humbling experience coming back onto what is a pitch perfect field every single day.
Yeah, and as we got Saskia Weber back right. Oh my gosh, she went to go change.
I love it.
I thought she got a phone call and she went to go change.
I ran to the dryer.
Oh my God.
Just for you, Juan.
Oh my
It was like magic.
I love it right there. Now, Juan, speaking of studying and giving tutelage, to younger players and everything like that, shout out to you. You were one of the first few people, while we've been going through this beta phase with the union sports and especially the goalkeeping side, that's been posting a lot of content, not just on the youth side, but also the collegiate side. Just shout out to you, man, because you've been really doing what we've all wanted on the union, which is people engaging, connecting, educating others, having debates. Not everyone's going to agree on everything. And, as opposed to like a lot of times on just traditional social media where it's just a lot of trolling, I feel like all the communication, at least all engagement I've been seeing on your posts, have been really constructive.
Yeah, no, I think, like you guys say it all the time, there's no right way of goalkeeping. And I think if I just have fun showing what I do, I think there's some learning behind that. And I'm not trying to go viral. And here's a fun fact, because I'm not, but but I'm trying to teach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what, Juan, it's also the fact of like, the diversity that's out there, and seeing like you on there and everything. That was what the whole plan was with, the union. And so to see you and what you're doing and what you're putting out there and working with UCLA, and you guys are ranked and everything, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And I'll be straight up honest with you. Juan, one of the really cool things about somebody like yourself is that you've experienced a lot of different cultures when it comes to goalkeeping, from different styles and different ways of looking at it. Points of view in regards to the position on what matters most, whether this matters or this matters or this matters. And you've been somebody that's really been like, hey, I'm going to take a little bit from here, a little bit from here, a little bit from here, to kind of come up with my own methodology.
Yeah, but really quick, one of the things when we first started, when we were both at UCLA, and we first like the first thing you said to me was like, "Hey, Sask, if you see anything, let me know." And I was the same way. I was like, if you see anything, let me know. And that humility, in a sense, of saying like, am I missing something with one of my keepers? Like, talk to me. And that being able to put yourself out there and say, I don't know everything, and I love that. I love that about us, and I love that about you. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, no, having those couple-minute conversations before my practice would start, and have you around there, I let you know whatever would happen with some of your keepers. Why is this keeper a little too tight, and why are they a little bit more reserved? Everybody has personalities in goal, but I think taking it as a learning lesson and putting egos aside, because I think that's how you learn the best, right? And I think that's why there's different roles and keeper rankings, right? All over the world. That's how you definitely find your starter. Whoever listens the most, I think, and engages those practices in the game, or scrimmages or small-sided, will ultimately get the starting role. Of course, aside from being the most consistent, right?
No, absolutely.
And one of the things about that, Juan, is obviously you all came into a situation here, and we will get to the topic in a second, but I find this connection, the UCLA connection here, so fascinating. We want to talk about it a little bit more. Obviously, Justin Garces, moved on, from UCLA, and that was a tough hole to fill. And you had a few underclassmen that were there. Was that one of those decisions where you're like, it really could be anybody, going into the season, or did you kind of have an understanding of who was going to take over for Justin once he took off?
Well, I think Justin did really, really well his years there. I think we started off with, COVID year, I think before I got there, they had like 24 goals against. Then I got there, and then we brought that down to 20. And then his last year, we brought that down to 19. So he was getting better as the years progressed, and then his feet were fantastic. So he certainly left a big shoe to fill, and I think it was up for grabs. There was no really saying, hey, there's a definite goalkeeper. It's certainly a battle. And I think every goalkeeper there had their chance, and I think we have our starter now. He's doing great, but there's no room for him to say, he should feel comfortable, because we're at UCLA, we're there to compete, and every player has a chance if you are consistent or better in certain ways.
The fact that you just brought that up is just a great segue into just, Saskia obviously, was at UCLA last season, and you were in a very, let's just say, intense recruiting battle, to bring in one of the top keepers in the country, in Niku, to UCLA. And that's one of the conversations where, with somebody like Lauren.
It took me a year.
A year.
I don't talk to anybody that much. I don't talk to my parents that often. But it was. And, and the hard thing about that is you have Lauren, who is at the top of her game and playing so great. And so you look to a Niku to recruit, to bring in. And the beauty about Niku was that she had a lot to do with education. Her parents were UCLA grads and stuff, but at the same time, like, she took her time. And when I say took her time, she took her time to make the decision. And Lauren's having a worldy season. I mean, come on, she's having the best season even, when I was there. But that just gives Niku time to grow. It gives her time to knowing that, Lauren will go pro at the end of this season. And when she graduates, when she's done with her master's, and Niku will take over the reins. But for her at the same time to humble herself and not say, well, I want to go in as a freshman and I want to start. You're going from some ECNL and you're going from club into the top collegiate team in the country. And so, and conference. And so you're also leaving home. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So any freshman or any senior in high school out there that thinks that they're like, I got it. You don't got it. You know what I mean? You don't. There's a lot of factors that go in, and she's handling it great. She knows that she will, for all intents and purposes, she will be the starter next year, but she's learning behind Lauren. And
one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud of her.
And it's a lot of learning. I mean, Lauren's so good, so crisp, and I'm sure her trainings are fantastic, or even better than her games. Her consistency is probably untouched, and if she can be around that environment and learn every single day, she should be filling up those shoes very well.
Yeah, and hats off to Lauren, because listen, I got calls from about 4 or 5 different NWSL teams that were like, is Lauren going to come out? Is she going to come out? We need her. And she made the decision to get her master's and stay, to do her COVID year. And hats off to her, because right now she's, in my opinion, the number 1 keeper in the entire country. And she could have gone pro last year. And so some people say, oh, I'm going to roll the dice. And what if you get hurt? What if this issue? But she's hammering it.
Yeah. Speaking of hammering, that's a great segue into today's topic, which is close range activation.
There you go.
Where goalkeepers get hammered consistently over and over and over again, a lot of times at pace. Juan, for maybe some parents that are listening right now who might not know what we mean by close range, what is considered a close range scenario?
Oh, this is fun for me, because a close range shot is anything that is probably going to be deflected or directly struck into your bubble. So I think a close range shot is probably anywhere between 6 or 8 yards, probably untouched by a defender, or maybe it acquires a deflection. I think a header is a close range shot. So I think close range is very fun to play with. And I think there's a bunch of scenarios that can go ahead and go hand in hand with that.
Yeah, well, I think, Juan, with you being with beach soccer, it's all close range shots.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
100%. Yeah.
Well, that's actually a really good point that you brought that up, Saskia, in regards to, different types of games when it comes to, developing kind of these skill sets and learning how to activate properly in a close range scenario. Juan, like small-sided games, I personally find, like, when I play sevens, it really helps me work on my close range scenarios, because it's closing dangerous spaces really quickly, and being able to work on those reactions, and also where I deflect that ball, as opposed to just making contact on that ball.
Yeah, no, at first I think it's just acquire the shot stopping skill. And if you have enough time, try and deflect that thing as far wide as possible, or,
or
bring
hold
it
it.
up. So if you can't hold it,
But you can't hold it, Saskia. With close range.
El Gato, hold the ball.
Every once in a while, you get that one that you do hold, and everyone's surprised.
Yeah, even you're surprised. You're like, wait, what is this?
Yeah, you're just like, whoa.
No, you just got. I agree with you, Mike, in the sense of I love small-sided games, thrived in it, because at the end of the day, it's true to the game. And when it's basically 18 to 18. So you're constantly have to be engaged. You constantly have to be looking for the shot, whether it's outside of right when somebody gets the ball outside of the 18 on transition, or inside that chaos. Because you know, how are goals scored? They're scored through that chaos. And so, you know, small sided games in close, like hold yourself big, reaction, everything. It's, oh my God, I love it. I want to get on the field right now.
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean.
Let's do this right now. I'm gonna take this comment off right here, and then we're gonna throw this up here right here. Oh, look at this guy. Look how dynamic all the UCLA goalkeepers are right here. And I want to show a little bit of Juan's activations. This is pre-activation before you actually start your session, Juan. So walk us through kind of what's going on right here.
So I've seen this drill as individuals, and I thought, why not combine them? You know what I mean? You go 4 on the ground, 4 layups, bring that back down to the ground. They're moving, and I think the shuffle steps, it's super clinical for one-on-one saves. And always when my keepers go back, they understand, wow, today's going to be a drop back, reaction save kind of day because I'm going to be saying away. Anytime my goalkeepers drop back, away. So they know they're going to understand that there's going to be a shot coming in. And of course, whenever I said sticks, those are their sticks, those are their poles. I need to make myself big. So they love those days when I had sticks because those are hand-in-hand posts that they have to go ahead and maneuver and close to, you know?
And so, you know, really quick, Juan would always get on me because I always train the keepers inside the 18.
Oh, I'm not inside the 18. No way.
And I would rip up the goal mouth at Drake, and Juan be like, "It wasn't me."
I know it wasn't me. My recording says I was here.
I was like, I'm over on the side. I'm like, it was me. I'll take it. You know, the key thing here is the micro movements, and we talked about that, Mike. It's just the quick steps, quick reaction. You don't need huge movements to cover the goal. You need to be able to do quick micro steps, micro movements, and be set. Quick and these are great drills for that. You don't need these big grandiose, like, oh, I have to get here. It's just quick steps.
And I want to bring up that right here, you know, Juan, real quickly in regards to this, because I had this comment that, and this is what I'm talking about with the trolls on social media who don't understand context of why you're doing something. And one of the trolls, I don't know if you saw this, Juan, on your post on this, they went, oh, but this doesn't happen in the game. This doesn't happen in the game. Everything has to be game realistic. And because they hear that over and over again, they don't understand context of why you're doing this.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, there's reasoning behind everything. Yeah, I mean, also in the game, you don't have a goalkeeper coach. You don't have all these balls coming in at once. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Direction and instruction. That's why you go to school. There's a teacher, right? So yeah, that's why we're there. And I think one of the biggest things that I like about this drill is the one that you mentioned earlier. I think when we were texting was the bounce one, where I bounce and they have to react because I'm here and I pin the ball down to give it their cognitive understanding, some sort of movement to acquire their shuffle. And then they understand, okay, there's a bounce coming. I have to start shuffling over and make myself big. And I have to pop out my chest, make my hands big, and acquire that space for my first post. So those are little activation moves that I like to do that kind of right here. I love it. I love that stuff.
No, I love that.
Dude, this is amazing. I've never seen this before.
And open.
This is awesome.
No, and
yeah,
I love
that was on the spot that day.
But
really?
But it goes back to what I was saying. So any of the trolls out there that don't understand, it's the micro steps, the micro movements. It's the quick reaction. It's, you know, yeah. Am I patting the ball in a game? No, you know, you're not. But what you are doing is watch the footwork, watch the positioning. That's what's key. It's the balance behind what you're doing. And that does parlay into game realism. And so anybody that doesn't understand that, you know, has to come back to the union school and get taught.
And I want to bring this up too, Juan, in regards to like
I
this
love
right
this
here.
one, by the way.
I love this. But what I want a lot of people to understand too is that like you can't go game speed to start with. Like if you go game speed, then the mechanics aren't there. So if you're working with a 9s and 10s and 11-year-olds and you're like, everything's got to be game realistic, you know, and you start hammering shots at them, you would never do that. So just because they're older players, you think you need to start hammering shots? No, the body's got to get used to the movements. And then once the body's used to it, it's got that muscle memory. Now you can start going game speed, but you just got to teach the balance and the shape here.
Yeah, but the
Yep.
other thing I love about this, Juan, is that the distance. Okay, so what we see, and Mike, this drives me crazy, is when young keepers are trying to do this type of a block and a save, they're too far from the ball, right? So this is the right distance to do this, to make yourself big, do a K save, do whatever you want to call it, and everything. But you have coaches out there and kids out there that'll start that from 5, 8, 10 yards
Mhm.
away, and you're done. You're you're done.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that you have to understand as a coach, we're talking about your session design, is you need to recognize, first off, the space that you have available to yourself. And then second of all, you need to recognize what is realistic to the movement. If you're too far away, or if you're too close, even, it's not going to work. I've seen people try to do stuff like this, and they're literally standing next to the goalkeeper, and it's way too close. Or they're too far away, and the goalkeeper just goes, well, I could have just caught that. And now you have to start recognizing in yourself, okay, I need to go back and I need to design this better.
Yeah, no, I think what I said about me doing this one on the spot was that in my head, I had thought, all right, I'm just going to drop the ball and then hit, but they were getting there too quick. So then that's when I was like, oh, I need to do it faster. I need to get my hand over the ball, hit it down, give direction quick. So that was like, whoa, to them. And then that's where a lot of learning questions started arising, and then having them all on my GoPro with like them asking questions. Was I here? Was I there? What do you think about this? Is my body turning? Because I think right there, you see one of my keepers, he turns really, really kind of far out where he should have, right there. Yep. And he noticed that, on video and in the run of play, and questions were coming. And that's the best part. You capture those conversations or contradictions in person, and you just go about them and you learn from those things.
What also I like about this is that your keepers aren't selling themselves. So they're not like, you get a lot of young keepers that they're going down on a knee, or they're totally committed to the movement, where your keepers have made the block, they've made the save, but they're still balanced immediately to get another ball. And so you move on from this and say, okay, you've made that save, but now the ball's free. Right? You've made that block. Now what are you going to do? Because a lot of young keepers, they do this totally wrong. They sell themselves. They go down, and now you can't get up from there.
And another thing too, in regards to that one, when we're talking about, and I know that you work with youth players too, is you have to recognize the limitations of the age group that you're working with in regards to their body structure and their qualities. If you do this with a 9-year-old, chances are they're not going to be able to get that knee off the ground. So you're going to have to recognize that. So can you really do this with them?
I've done this with youngers, and some of them understand the concept of just show me your shape, and some other ones just really want to catch the ball from a close proximity, which then brings that kind of conversation, there on the spot. And you have to remind them, I'm not looking for you to hold it, because the likeliness of you holding this ball in the game from this close is very, very, very small. Keep in mind, you're also reacting to me swatting the ball. You're probably not going to catch it. And if both hands come here, you're losing so much space, and you're making yourself so much smaller off your width, and then your wings get really small. I think the biggest thing that I told all of my keepers for 1v1 situations or close range shots, set yourself as if you're about to hug someone. Thumbs up and your arms a little bit wide. That should give you the perfect range and width, and give you that kind of sense of balance for your hands, I think.
Yeah, I love this. And I want to move on to this now, because here's one great thing that I think a lot of people don't put into their progressions when it comes to close range scenarios, is the smother. They're just so focused on the block that they don't even recognize the fact that if that touch is big, you can just go down and win that ball. So I love your progression from here into.
But it's kind of a lost art.
Do that.
It's very strange. And I was very adamant with I'm old school, I guess, if you want to call it that, but even with Lauren at UCLA and stuff, I was like, move your feet. What you see here is the final action on the smother. But when this is in a game situation, you're manipulating the situation. Like, right? So like if an attacker's coming at you and a defender's on them, or even if they're one-on-one and they take that long touch to try to beat you, go get ready. Like you're saying, okay, go ahead, try to take that long touch to try to get around me. I'm gonna smother it. So that's the thought process, that this is the end result, but that's what goes into this. It's a bigger picture.
Yeah, and I also love Juan, the fact that it's a lateral movement across. I've seen so many younger coaches, you know, who are still developing their coaching ability, who play this ball too direct, and then the kids go, "Well, I wouldn't dive on that. I would just pick it up." So you have to recognize that your service has to be realistic to the movement in the game for what you want the goalkeeper
and
to
the
do.
best thing about this is that they don't know which way it's going.
They don't. Yeah, they don't know where it's going. I'm right there kind of on my knee, and I'm kind of swiveling my hands behind. So they're on their toes, you know, and the objective of the striker is to strike that ball into the near post in the direction that I strike it into. So that's their goal, and that's what my goalkeeper is trying to save or prevent them from scoring. And if it's a big touch, they stay on their feet, force them wide, and I call the play dead. You know, so it's kind of finding that happy medium of you know, you did your job, reward. We get to do it over. You know what I mean?
And it's also the confidence by your keeper to actually realize that when you do smother, if somebody's striking the ball and you're hitting the ball with your entire body and hands at the same time, you're going to win that fight. And it's that confidence behind it. And a lot of goalkeepers, we find younger goalkeepers, they kind of, have you ever had this where they lay down a little bit behind it? So they allow the striker to actually hit the ball into them, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing? Like, no, hands right to the ball. You're going to upend in reality, you're going to upend that striker, right? But if you lay down and allow that space for the striker to actually hit the ball into you, then it's a nightmare. Then it's a nightmare.
Then the ball's spinning, it's going over your head, it's going on over your shoulder. Now it's a second ball and you're scrambling. You're absolutely right about that. I want to say this real quick, Juan. I notice in all these activities right here that you have sticks in between. And I don't know if everybody can see here. And for those who are listening just to the audio, there's white sticks, so they're a little bit difficult to see if you watch the video. But is that because you want them to move only a certain amount of space?
I just want them to know what space they're covering. Okay. So if they can cover that space, you know, that's good. We accomplished our goal for that sequence, and we get to move forward. So they're having their feet shuffle in is just, you know, that tight space that we're talking about with Saskia, and still bringing in that cognitive understanding, just so that we don't get away from handling, but, you know, still acquiring those half steps and half shuffles for the topic of the day of 1v1s and tight movements.
Yeah, because it's inside your bubble. You know, like if somebody's going to hit like a worldie into the upper 90, like from in close, if you cover it, amazing. But if you don't, you don't. So there's a certain parameter that you're like, this is your area in this situation, inside the 18, inside, like not even the 18, inside 12 or whatever, in tight spaces. This is the area, you know, be off your line. Correct. And if you cover this area, actually, you're actually covering the far post.
Correct.
Now,
with my goalkeepers, sorry, Michael. With my goalkeepers, every game that we get scored on, I have this picture of a goal, and I X mark the spot where they're getting scored on, and everything so far has been close around the middle of the goal, with very few instances of upper V, side netting. Everything is within the range.
I just saw the replay of the goal the other day in the upper 90 from inside the 18. I just saw it. Look at him. He's like, but listen, it's a banger. It's an upper 90 shot. It's outside of the bubble and everything.
Yep.
It was.
Yeah, you tap your hat. It was a good goal. You know, that was their only chance, and they finalized it. He was clinical.
Hey Stan Anderson, what's up with you too, sir?
What's up? Yeah, but I didn't mean to drop that on you, but I literally just came
Those
up.
were the rare instances I was talking about. Yes.
So I want to move on to this because this is a different day right here, and this is a similar topic, but now I think in this session that you did here, Juan, it was a little bit more full game space. I think you moved on into more of a game realistic activities right here. So what was kind of the purpose? I see that you're still going with the same activations. Is this kind of just like kind of your bread and butter activation for this type of picture now?
Yeah, when we have 1v1s, they know that it's through and across this activation. So I think that was the first day where we started doing that drill, and then as we moved forward, we started getting the gist of it. We started moving more fluid like, and when that happens, they know it's 1v1 activation.
Yeah, and then so what's moving on right here?
Oh, I saw that drill from Mexican goalkeeper Oscar Daut. I liked it. He was doing different things with it, power diving, and I thought that this was more one-on-one kind of related, just because we get to have the palm there and we just get to use that kind of depth with it as well. So I kind of infused that with 1v1s.
And what I like about here is that after that ball's replayed here, now that there's that realism of then the ball is cut back across and you've got to make the immediate save right here in an obstructed space. I love this one. This is great.
Yeah, but you also have to go negative. And so it's something that has come up in the past couple of years that now goalkeeper training is that negative movement, because it's not all forward. It's not all on weird angles. You have to retract, get your positioning back, and then make the save. Because if he comes forward in front of the dummy here, that ball could possibly beat him. But if he retracts, now he makes the save.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Correct.
like this.
Yeah.
Now,
so that was the simulation of somewhat of a cutback, and then giving it back, and then making you so big to accommodate to the goal that I have set up, which was prior the sticks for the other drill.
what I like here too is one thing is the discipline is like, so after that second ball right here, it's that right here, that position to hold, but then the quick drop, because the shot's coming immediate. And I think a lot of times a lot of goalkeepers will be too high in front of this, and then they'll try to do the quick drop.
But that's my point. But Mike, that's my point. I think a lot of people in this drill would actually step in front of the dummy, and that's pulling yourself out of position. So you have to remember that there has to be the drop and the negative movement to cover more space across the goal in this situation. And so it forces that, because you'll see a lot of young keepers will say, oh, I'm going to cut in front of the dummy. And that's the wrong movement. It's the wrong angle.
So I'm assuming that this next step here is the simulation, as if that ball wasn't a clean handle, it bounced right back, and they have to come forward, steal space, and get set. Right here, right? Juan?
Yes, you would take space. I think by me manipulating the mannequins at a certain way, you get the certain movement that it is that you're looking for. So I could have just kept that mannequin a little bit tighter, and he would have had a lot of time to see the ball where he probably would have caught it. But if I uplift the mannequins a yard or two, he understands, okay, the mannequins, my goal is a little bit higher. I still have to cut the space 2 yards in front of that. So now that turns into a shot stopping service, making my hands wider. I have to pop up my chest. I got to make the save. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? I love this because this is game realistic. We see a lot of goalkeepers that hang on their line. So they'll be like, okay, so let's say they're people. Let's say it's a corner kick, whatever. And they'll say, well, I'm just going to stay. And that's not the right thing. If the ball's bouncing around the top of the 6, no, come. Set, be big, because you're closing the angle. If you stay on your line, then the goal's humongous and you can't cover it. And this facilitates that.
So I have a question.
I love it, Juan. I love it.
I have a question about the mannequins on the knockdown right here. So when this ball is played, is this essentially him pushing a player out of the way, or what is that?
I think
exactly?
there he didn't understand that was one of the first ones where he didn't understand the drill a bit. I wanted him to be slightly in front. I wanted him to be slightly in front of the mannequin, and I think that mannequin just obstructed him, because if you see his back foot, his right foot is leveled with it and his left foot is slightly in front, that will cause obstruction. So if you're in front, I think you clear that post or clear that mannequin for you to have a better run up instead.
Do you think in this situation that his angle to go was wrong? Like, I'm not micromanaging. I'm just saying, like, so, okay, here, right? So,
Mhm.
because of where the mannequin is, if he comes up inside the mannequin, his angle might be better. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he pulled himself out of position by going around the mannequin on the outside. Although makes a great save and another great save.
I made that save last night in adult league.
Yeah.
Just want to let you all know. I just want to let you all know I did that.
When you were sleeping and you were
no, I made that save last night. I made that save last night.
Okay.
And people are like, "Oh my god, what?" It's an emergency save, and I made that. I'm very good at that.
I love that Juan and I are laughing at you.
I love the double save action, Mike. I believe you.
Yeah, there you go. I made that save.
Send me the clip.
Hey, is that Mike?
I wish it was on film.
Is that Mike?
I wish it was on film. No, that guy's way taller than me.
No,
okay,
but
so now
I think
now they understand.
The reason why that happened, I think, was that I forced them to take that step going forward, because if they go back, I think they lose some flight of that ball, and the forward might feel a little bit more comfortable coming towards it. You know what I mean? So I think the mandatory step in front, I think it's the right one,
I
personally.
got you. I think that the thing that this instills, and if young kids are out there watching and stuff like that, is there's a certain amount of, like, you gotta sell yourself. There's a certain amount of putting your body out there and saying, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna post up, I'm gonna be big, and everything like that. Now, young kids out there listening, the further you are away from the ball, the more it hurts. I just want you to know. The closer you can get, boom, it doesn't hurt. All right? So if you're too far back, it's going to hit your face. It's going to hit something. It's going to hurt.
Stinger.
I love it. It's true.
I love it. It's funny because it took a couple times before I started seeing the mannequins no longer get pushed out of the way, and I've noticed the angles just improved so much.
It was just a little bit higher, yeah.
I just love that Juan's moved the goal further down Drake's field.
You see that? I'm glad you noticed that. It's a little detail.
I did. I
like that's further down. I rotate the
No, Mike, you have no idea how much trouble I would get in. Like, I was getting called out all the time.
Oh, here, before we move on to the clips of the actual match scenarios, I want to show right there, because in the same activity right here, because of the distance of this ball, right, and where they were and a little bit behind the ball right there, this action is different than him trying to block that ball, because there's no way he could block that ball. He has to go down for that ball right there. I just want everyone to see this right here. Boom.
No, and this is a great decision, right? He knows he's too far away. And this is exactly what I was talking about. There is no block here, right? You can't do a K save. You can't do this. The only thing you can do right now is hands to the ball, sell yourself, and go. And that's it. And make yourself big this way. And so it's a great decision. And that is the right decision in this situation.
100%.
Yeah. Let's move to some of these match actions right now. So this is against San Diego State. And the ball's played outside from the edge of the 18. It's an in-swinger towards the 6 by Donovan Rowe. The ball is flicked on towards the near post by Blake Bowen. And then Crockford comes across. He just covers that space right here. Again, it's that bravery of just staying big in this space right here. Quickly moves over, creates a barrier, and Kyle Colonna can hit a shot, but it's great work on his part, I think.
That was a great save from our perspective. I think the camera does not do it justice. I think if you were there, your jaw would have dropped. He had good reaction skills and the ability to just not, flail his arms, but actually somewhat read the flight of the ball and keep his hands up.
Yeah.
That's big time. I think that's next level. And I think
it's absolutely huge, because a lot of goalkeepers would have automatically gone down. And how many goalkeepers do we see get beat top shelf, like that ball get roofed in on them? And instead he held himself and he still had the ability to make that save. We've seen that ball
and the
go
obstruction
in.
of the defender.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen that ball go in high so many times.
And I think here's the thing by the ball in here by Rowe that's flicked on right here. That's a very dangerous situation right there with that dude right there that got the ball, because that could be a header that gets flicked onto goal. Because he sees it's kind of botched and flicked across. Look at Crockford's head. He's able to track that ball quickly, and he's trying to steal as much space as possible before that guy gets a shot. So he recognizes that's a dangerous area, and I just have to go. And again, I can't tell you how many times I've seen goalkeepers try to go too high across their post, in front of their post right here, and then they just get slotted and beat. But he recognizes, boom. Love it.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to the training that Juan did. I think that it's micro movements. There's not that much space to cover if you're in the right position. So he doesn't jump forward to say, okay, I'm going to come for the cross. He realizes immediately, I'm not getting that cross. It's coming in at the penalty mark. So I'm going to get myself in the right position. If it is headed, that I have the goal covered. Now I just have to take several little steps to cover the near post. And that's what he does.
Right
1, 2, boom.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That was a great save. A lot of bravery there, yeah, too.
Yeah, definitely. And then it's just cleared out. All right, let's move on to this next clip right here. So this is in the 5th minute. This is against Cal, the rival Bears in the conference right here. This is Fami Ibrahim. He dribbles inside the 18. He plays a through ball across the box to Nonzo Ademuwaba. And look at that. That's, again, a lot of people are like, oh, he could have gone down with his hands right there. But it happens so fast when this ball's played across that Nate's just trying to get as much space in front of the gap as possible as that ball is hit. Some solid flexibility there.
Anybody that's saying this is tight, like, you're talking about 6 yards. This is 6, 7 yards out. It's like 8 yards. Like, get something on the ball. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And also, I think
the surface area was super wet too. It was raining, cloudy, overcast. So, like, for the forward, get something on there. The grass will do the best to kind of whip it in there, kind of add some speed. And I think Nate's composure, getting his foot out for that 1v1 save, was big time.
Yeah, and you have to understand, like, everybody listening out here, like, having control of your body in this situation is key. Being able to say, okay, I'm here, I got to throw something, and being able to kick your leg out, it's not easy. You know, that reaction is amazing. And it's so close and so tight as you're moving laterally across the goal to still be able to go, boom, kick save. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think another thing too, that in regards to the scenario here, is that, as Saskia says, don't follow one mistake with another mistake type of a thing. Well, he's still moving when the ball's hit, and he doesn't have the chance to get set. He has to just throw his body into the space and try to get as much as he could, because I think he wasn't able to get set, right, Juan?
Right, and his far post is covered, right? So watch, far post covered. Okay, so you have the defender far post covered. He's still trying to get into position. Watch the near post. Look at how much space there is. You can't see me pointing. Look at how much space there is from the center of the goal to the near post. And he knows he has his defender and everything. So where is this ball going to go? If it goes far post, his defender's probably going to save that. So he's getting across and saying, what can I get on this? If it's a leg, it's fine.
That's one of the biggest conversations I have about reading the play and understanding where their players are, what they're obstructing, and what our placement of defenders are obstructing. After that happens, you just got to find your happy medium between them and your first, because they're doing you a favor from blocking that far side. So now use your judgment and find yourself halfway.
Exactly. And, you know, sometimes you get the weird goal that maybe your defender gets megged. You know, like that happens. Yeah. But the truth is, if your defender has your far post covered, which he did, you know that now I only have to cover this much space.
This much?
Yeah. I want to show this clip right here. I want to show this save right here, because this is from a set piece. This is from a corner kick. I think it's against Stanford. It's an outswinger to the 6. Keegan Hughes gets a little touch on it right there. And then look at how close that is. Liam Doyle tries to pick it up, but look at Nate stay big right there. Right. Boom. What a
Yeah,
save.
but what I love about this is shoving the defender out of the way. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No, I need to see that.
Yeah, you got to go back. Watch.
Okay. Okay.
Right here. He's
Okay.
like, get out of my space. Watch. Right here.
Oh
Get
my
out.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Hey, it's like that mannequin. It's like the mannequin drill. He moved the mannequin out of the way,
Yeah,
right?
we did that in practice. The mannequin was there.
This is why
See,
we
I
do
see those things. I'm like, get out of my way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because we gotta see, right? We have the biggest advantage in the whole team. Use our hands.
Yep. It's
But again,
awesome.
look at this, because this is a missed flick in my opinion. I don't know if this was. I think he was trying to head the ball on frame. That would be my guess right here. And instead, it just kind of skims his head. And again, a lot of people panic in this situation, but he just stays in front of the guy. And just, is that off the face? Ooh.
Yeah, but the bottom
I
line
believe
is
it's up. Yeah.
but the bottom line is he keeps his shape and stays big.
Mhm.
And we talk about this all the time. Like in tight situations like this, give yourself a chance. Don't guess, don't cheat, don't do anything. Be big. Stay, give yourself a chance to react.
Yeah, because I think a lot of young goalkeepers here, like right in this spot right there,
You guys are all laughing.
they're going at the ball, or they're trying to go down at the ball or whatever. And he just, instead, he stays dead. Because if he had spread right there, then the ball's going through his legs because it's just not enough time.
Or it might go over him.
Yeah.
And that's chaotic. That's something that I kind of. There's a reason why I also bring the pro deflect. It helps me bring and relive those moments in practice with the pro deflect.
And
What a
this is how goals are scored. You know, not everything is a banger from the top of the 18. And 90% of goals that are scored are in the chaos inside the 18, where goalkeepers' positioning is important, staying big, like giving themselves a chance to react. That's why I love small-sided.
Yeah, no, I think, but to be fair, Saskia, just to play devil's advocate on small-sided with a purpose, because I think a lot, small-sided with a purpose, because there's a lot of people out there just go, hey, let's just scrimmage small-sided, then you start learning how to play small-sided.
Yeah, but here's the problem with small-sided is you as a goalkeeper, and I tell all my goalkeepers this, is you still have to maintain your space, right? So what happens when you're playing small-sided is that the defense starts to come back, and now they're invading your space. They're inside the 6, but when people are attacking, that's not realistic. You know, you get out. This is my space. So you have to still maintain your lines and everything when you're playing small-sided. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes playing small-sided is do you allow your defense to collapse on you? Don't do it. That's not what you would allow in a game. So as long as you make sure your defense is where they're supposed to be, yes, I love small-sided, but we don't see that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the thing is one thing I've seen a lot of times when it comes to small-sided is that a lot of goalkeepers start getting great at playing small-sided because they start playing this different game of soccer, and the things that work in small-sided don't work in the actual game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So but even like kicks, like I'll see people like, you know, doing these long throws or the side volleys, you know, and it's like, I'm like, would you do that in a game, in a full 11-a-side game? Would you play that ball? Well, no, but it's effective here. And it's great if you want to teach problem solving at foundational ages and stuff like that. That's true. But you have to recognize that that's not a realistic ball in an 11-a-side game. That's just my opinion.
No, I understand what you're saying with that. And I think that, well, first of all, I loved my throw in small-sided because I got many assists. But hey, Mia here. But I think at the same time, it comes back to what I said. It's being like space. Like, okay, so your defender plays a ball back to you in small-sided with everybody inside the 18. Is that reality? You know, kick the ball out of bounds. You know, are you really giving me this pass back right now with like 5 people on top of me? No, that's not realistic. So you have to, as a coach, maintain, guys, realism. It's hard, but still love small-sided. Shut up, Mike.
All right, let's go to this 1v1 scenario right here, because this is what we're talking about, kind of big touches here. This is against Stanford. I think, Juan, this is like the 89th minute. So like this is like near the end of the game, and it was like tied 0-0. So this is obviously a big deal right now. But it's a through ball inside to Fletcher Bank. He takes a big touch right here. Do you think Nate overcommitted here coming out on this ball right here and should have held a little bit farther back? What do you think?
I think he made the right save, made
Okay.
the right choice because he made the save.
Okay.
Right. I think I wouldn't tell him, hey, I think you need to be more reserved, because he felt like he read that ball correctly, which he did because he made the save. But if that guy would have hit that cross, we don't know what would have happened. We have three guys in the box going negative towards our own goal. We don't want any own goals nor them deflecting a ball into goal off for a shot. So, I mean, I think with the kind of firmness that ball was hit, or lack of firmness that ball was hit, Nate was able to read to close down the space as fast as he could. It's a very ambitious 1v1, but I think because he releases himself off the ground, he got to make up some ground.
Yeah. Thoughts, Susk?
I would say that if we were going to micromanage it, I would say that, yes, I think he didn't need to come out. I think you have defense coming back. I think he could have gotten a good position here, boom, and stayed firm. However, this is what I said. Don't follow a mistake by another mistake. He came, he committed, and he made the save, and he made himself big, and he did. What you have is some goalkeepers will come out and be like, "Ow, I shouldn't have come out," and then they get caught in between, and they get in their head. So, and I know that sounds really quick, but that is what happens with goalkeepers. So he made the commitment to come and make himself big and did all the right things in that moment. If we go back and we say you have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders coming in, he's forced to take this shot. Do I think he could have just stolen some angle and space and probably just caught the ball and front smothered it? Yes. But he committed and he made the save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I do like is that, like you were talking about, don't follow one mistake with the second mistake is he immediately chases and tries to find the ball again, because the guy tries to hit it again and he's right there. So even though he's on the ground, the job's not done.
And look at his defense. I love it.
Yeah. No, I think like you were saying, Susk, I think compared to the youth level, we see a lot of question marks when goalkeepers are indecisive, and those are moments in time that kind of flies us by and gives the forwards that kind of range of motion, and they love it because they get to see the goal a little bit more, opposed to Nate, a college goalkeeper at UCLA D1, 100% committed, like you said, and not wasting any time for what ifs or should have stayed, or he just commits, follows the rebound, makes that second save with his foot, and wins the game. The whistle was blown shortly after. So
yeah.
By the way,
and
the organization on the defenders right there, because that guy hits the ball, but because there's literally like 9 guys there, he's so flustered, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to remember when we talk to Michelle Akers about that, Mike, is that like that forward coming in has to make a decision like that, right? So Nate comes out and closes him, and instead of Nate being indecisive, which is what the forward wants, he wants him to be indecisive so he can slot it, pass it, or whatever. Instead, he commits to his decision. But because he has to do it in a split second, because you have so many defenders falling down on it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Do you all have time for one more clip? You guys?
One more.
Okay, one more clip. Okay. So
one more. I love it.
Okay. So this is this the one I wanted to show? Is this Grand Canyon one? Yes, I think it
looks.
Is this Grand Canyon? Okay.
Look at the board. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the ball right here. So it's like 18th minute. It's like Sean Joash cuts, takes a big step. Again, Nate stays nice and big right there. This is one of those situations where he didn't come out, and he knows he's got his angle covered, and he knows, again, based on the shape of his defenders right there, he's got everything covered. Simple save right there. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Right and most people think that's he's made that an easy save for himself.
Yeah. Oh, this is the one I wanted to show. Okay, sorry. This is the one that's a cut. Yes, right here, because it was the hand gesture, the same thing as that first save. Because I was trying to wrap it all together. I put way too much thought into this. Hands up, save up across like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that real time again.
Are you
Similar
gonna
to the
play it?
San Diego one.
Yep, exactly. That's
And
why I
I
wanted to show that.
You know, and what again, Juan, and hats off to you, and the goalkeepers look great. I think that what's great about this, and what people need to understand, is that he stays firm, he stays big. He doesn't cheat, he doesn't go down near post or anything like that. He says, okay, beat me. I have the angle on you, beat me, I'm gonna stay big, which gives him the touch.
Yep, and off that forward first touch, Nate uses that time to take and cover space. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but off his cut to find his angle, that's when Nate took space and took ground to cover that and minuscule that goal of frame.
Right, and we talk about this, and this is old school. I'll bring that back. That I don't think goalkeeper coaches, a lot of them, teach that anymore, and that is when that head goes down, they've looked up, right? They're taking their touch, they've looked up, and they see you in your position. When that head goes down, and you'll see it, Nate takes the space. So he steals an angle that you didn't see as an attacker originally. And that's how I was taught. It was like, okay, the head goes down, take that step forward, close even more space, because that's not the picture they had before they went straight head down.
Saw it.
That's right.
Yeah, now when his head came back up, look how much closer Nate is right there.
Exactly.
So he's like, what happened? It's like magic.
Exactly. You can try that tomorrow night.
I'm going to try that Thursday night. My next
record it.
Next game. I definitely want to record, but I also don't want to look like that guy. The guy who's like at a men's league, who's like filming himself.
I just want to see. I want to see it. I
have to say, for educational purposes, I have to record this. I have to put a GoPro behind the goal, and then I'm gonna look at the footage and I'll be like, no one's gonna see this on the podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know my stance. I'm like, I tell you how to do it, just in everybody's head. You know, I can do it perfectly, so there's no need.
Saskia, I played in a co-ed league last night, and one of them was like, they're like, you have a podcast. I said, yeah. They said, who's on the podcast with you? And I'm like, one of the old 99ers, one of the old goalkeepers. She's like, would you want to come out here and play on the field with us?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And by one of the old 99ers, thanks, Mike.
No. I didn't mean old. Like one of.
You heard him say that.
No,
absolutely not. Lauren and them used to laugh at me because I'd be like, all right, so this is how you have to do it. Saskia getting goal. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm getting goal. In their mind, they know that I can do everything I teach perfectly. So
that was a Freudian slip. I did not mean to say old.
I'm old. But if I get in there, and because I am old, I don't do it the way I teach it, then it just muddles the waters. So.
My gosh! All right. Well, I'll tell them you're busy. I'll tell them you're busy because it's
no. The amount of times I've been asked.
You've also moved to the Valley too, so you've moved to the Valley. So the West Side Santa Monica Airport Field doesn't work for you anymore.
The amount of times I've been asked to play in women's leagues and stuff, I'm like, yeah, no. First of all, you never want to be a goalkeeper in a women's or pickup league or co-ed because nobody plays defense, right? So you get your ass kicked as a goalkeeper. Nobody plays defense. Nobody's working hard to get back or anything like that. And you're just shell-shocked. And me, with I have to be the best no matter what I do, will sit there and dislocate an arm or anything, trying to prove myself on Santa Monica fields with a bunch of 50-year-old women, and I'll end up in the ICU. It's not going to happen.
All right. Well, on that note, Juan, shout out again all the great stuff that you've been posting on the Union. If people want to DM you on the Union, what's your handle there?
GKC_Juancho with 2 N's, and same thing goes for my YouTube and my Instagram and the Union app as well.
See, you keep it
So that
simple.
works.
You keep it simple.
Like
And
me.
obviously,
Yeah, I couldn't
like
be
Saskia
careless
Weber.
Juan anymore, man. I couldn't be careless Juan anymore. I had to get something more professional.
Well, you also stop remembering all the passwords. That's the other problem. That comes with age. Juan, listen, really, shout out. I'm so impressed with everything you do. You know how much I love you as a coach and everything, and I'm so proud and happy of how the UCLA men are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you, and I'll see you at one of those games soon.
Yes, absolutely.
And obviously, everybody, if you want to reach out to us, reach out to Saskia at Saskia Weber on the Union. You can reach out to me at Michael Magid. If you want to have a guest suggestion or topic suggestion, at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union, or contact at InsideThe18media.com. Shout out to all of you who've been watching on the Union. Some of you have to catch up. You guys are going to have to be able to catch up to Juan right here, because Juan's posting at least a couple times a week. And it's really good stuff too. So you guys, some of you have to catch up. All right, everybody. That's all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.